They're okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Thank you to those of you that are watching us live or on the replay on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Don't forget to go check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. And of course, you can find us at Hollywood Matrimony on all those platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter.
We're
Make
everywhere.
Sure you go
and yet
nowhere. Make sure you go like, share, subscribe, thumbs up, send hearts, send bubbles, send whatever it is you send on the social medias. I don't know. On the redes sociales, as they call
What?
it. The redes sociales.
You need to calm down.
That is
like,
the
this
Espanol.
is a family show.
Anyways, my head is just.
She has the booger disease today.
I have such bad sinus headache, and I feel like the congestion in my head, but I just sneezed and then my head hurt when I
So we
sneezed.
put you out of your misery?
Yes. I like those guns because they make the.
Yeah, they vibrate.
Noise.
You can turn it off.
Oh, you can? Why would you do that? It's fun.
Well, if you don't want the noise, because it goes.
I like that noise.
I know, but like if I'm playing in the middle of the night or something, I don't want to wake you up because your bedroom's on the other side of this wall.
I can't hear it anyway.
So,
all right, friends.
I have a firearm.
Oh, gosh.
With a grenade launcher right here.
All right. We have movies to talk about.
All right. We're also going to talk about a TV show today, but that's because it's movie related.
It is. It's movie adjacent.
That's right. So you pick whatever you want to start with.
My
love.
hair. Oh my gosh! I need to color my.
I have hair like this. I think your hair is going to be fun. You don't need to color your hair.
Yeah, look, my grays are showing. I got my hair color in there. I just need to do it.
You need to stop with the hair coloring.
I will not.
You need grandma. You just need to embrace it.
No. All right. Where do you want to go?
I don't care.
You want to start here?
That's fine.
Let's just start here. Tell me about this movie.
You've seen it.
I watched it, but you tell me.
All right. So the first movie we're going to talk about is a little film called Section 8, which I got to interview the director this week.
Ooh, fancy.
And I had some issues, so that interview will probably go up tonight or first thing tomorrow sometime. But it's an action flick starring Ryan Quanten, which most of you would know from True Blood.
Yep, the brother.
He was the brother. It's also got Dolph Lundgren, Dermot Mulroney, Scott Adkins, and Mickey Rourke. So we all knew I was in from the beginning.
Yeah, because Scott Adkins was there.
And then you added to mix Dolph Lundgren. I'm even more in.
Yeah,
I like Ryan Quanten
I like him too. He's really good. He did some good stuff.
And he's actually the lead of this film. This is a Ryan Quanten film. So when you make a movie like this, I know going in that when Scott Adkins isn't the lead title or Dolph Lundgren is not the lead title, there's a high chance they have very small parts.
Yeah.
So I just always hope they utilize him in the best way. Dolph Lundgren, I don't expect as hardcore heavy action as he used to be because he's getting older. He still does it, but I'm not expecting him to be jumping around and doing crazy stuff. I just want to see him shoot some people, punch somebody, throw some people around, and he normally delivers that.
Yeah.
Scott Adkins is still at the peak of his game, so I expect somebody to use him to kicking and whatever. If you don't know who Scott Adkins is by this point of watching our show, then clearly you're not paying attention because I will gush about the man forever.
Loves him.
He was recently seen in the movie Day Shift on Netflix. He's one of the Nazarian brothers, which everybody's screaming to get a spinoff. And I'm possibly going to be interviewing him for his new movie that's coming out called Accident Man, Hitman's Holiday, which we'll talk about later. Which is a sequel to Accident Man, which he is in fact the lead. And I'm going to ask him if they're ever going to. Anyway, I digress.
You're a fan.
Thank you. Section 8 is a action revenge type flick. It kind of starts one direction, then it kind of changes directions because it's about a guy who's like ex-military. He's home trying to make a life with his family, crosses the wrong people, typical blah, blah, blah. You know, they attack his family, so he goes to get revenge.
Correct.
And then it jumps ahead and he gets called back into becoming on special missions again.
Yes.
That's kind of what we're dealing with.
Correct.
And I guess it all comes full circle back around too for something. So it's pretty generic as far as storyline.
Yeah. I mean, I just, at some point, I'm just like, I don't even know what's going on. I'm just watching to see who's fighting who.
Well, I give the movie credit is it does feel like a big movie.
Yeah.
It does have a good production value. It looks good. And it's not a bad movie by any means. It's just very generic from a standpoint of these kind of movies.
You know, he's going to go do this. You know, there's going to be a double cross. And then you're going to come back and find out it was someone you probably knew. I mean, it's your typical story.
It's the kind of movie you would probably expect to have seen in the 90s.
Yeah.
And
it had a vibe, right?
It's very vibe like this. And it's a typical Dolph Lundgren, Scott Adkins. So what kind of made it new is Ryan Quanten is not known for this kind of movie.
Correct.
Like he has done some action movies and different kinds of stuff, but having him as the lead action star of the movie made it kind of feel different.
Yes.
Even though it was not different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was, but we were really there to watch the action scenes.
Of course.
More than anything. This isn't a story-driven movie, Academy Award-winning acting type film. No. This is for action. That's what we're there for. And I think it was really good.
It had some good action in it. And when I interviewed the director, I gave him major props because Scott Adkins is not in the movie a lot. He comes in late in the story. Yeah. And I found out his character wasn't even in the story. They wrote that part to bring him in. And
that's cool.
Casino fight sequences in there isn't written in the script. They wrote that in. Wow. Because I told him, I said, big props for bringing in him. Because there's been some movies that Scott Adkins did that they weren't bad movies, but you get disappointed because you want to see him kick ass. And I know that's not what he wants to do every single film.
This dog is snoring so loud behind me.
I know he wants to do other stuff and not always be Karate Man.
Correct.
And I get that. As a fan, I hate that.
Well, and that's why I think that the Nazarian movie or their scenes were really good because he did a little action, but it wasn't a whole. I mean, except for that one cool.
He did all action in the movie. Who are you kidding?
I know, but there was some fun too.
He did a spy thriller recently, and some other stuff.
Some good lines and one-liners. So I feel like he could do more than just action.
Yeah, of course.
But that's why we watch you.
He did some a spy thriller not long ago and some other stuff that didn't have any karate stuff in it whatsoever. It was still a good movie, and I told him, I interviewed him for that too. And I told him, I said, I'm not going to lie. I was very disappointed you didn't kick anybody in the face. But getting my own personal issues out there is because I've grown to accept I want a certain thing from him. But
well, you can just go watch his little training videos, okay?
I do. He also I don't know if you know this, he also does this Art of Action show on YouTube where he interviews action stars.
Oh, that's kind of
cool. And he's interviewed a ton of them from the old 80s, Lauren, whatever, and all these old 80s guys. Yeah. Some of them you know, some you've never even heard of.
Right.
And they're great because he interviewed Cynthia Rothrock and Don Wilson and all these people. It's on YouTube. It's part of the Art of Action. It's a great little show. And all that stuff spawned out of COVID. It couldn't work. Yeah. He started doing the kicking videos. Yeah. And then started the action. I think it's on like season 3 now or something.
Yeah. So which anyway, are amazing when they do the slow-mo and like he's standing here, but then suddenly he's kicking here and he lands here again. And I'm like, what? Which leg is this?
His signature move, which he first debuted in Undisputed 2 when he plays Boyka, one of his most famous characters. He's done 4 films.
Yes.
He does a jumping spinning hook. Okay.
Good jump.
So he's jumping spinning, or it can be a crescent, whatever. So imagine these are my legs. Okay. And jump. So imagine I jump over and I pass. So it looks like a Van Damme kick, right? As he passes, his other leg that's folded does a reverse upside down roundhouse and kicks the guy.
Then how the heck do you land?
He does it. He lands on the ground and then he kick pops up.
Oh my gosh! Because I was like, this like
I'll show you a video. I'll show you a video.
This leg's doing this.
Yeah, I'll show you.
I imagine it.
I'll show you a video. It's awesome.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
So anyway,
sorry, we digress. Karate people.
Anyway, he's perfectly utilized. But the rest of the movie still works. Even if they didn't have him in this, it was still a good action flick.
There's one thing we have to talk about, and it's Mickey Rourke. I don't even understand. Like, I feel like he has cheek implants now.
He does. I've watched almost everything Mickey Rourke has come out, and he does not look like Mickey Rourke anymore.
Because we just watched the movie. I think 2 weeks ago we talked about it on the show when he was young. We went back and watched. Something.
We were watching. I made her watch Double Team.
Okay.
With Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's a horrible movie.
No, but looks.
I love it.
Like I'm remembering. Like, oh yeah, that used to be him.
And that's not even young Mickey Rourke. That's the Mickey Rourke later that
after a little bad
had an accident already.
Okay, but he had some plans. He should have stayed like that.
Yeah.
He would have aged.
He looks like he doesn't even look like him as a wrestler from the Expendables anymore or Iron Man 2.
He's had more work.
It doesn't look like the same actor.
It looks like he has new cheek implants and maybe like a little chin thing. And
I mean, he's good in the movie.
Oh, he's fine. I was just like, it was like startling.
It is because you look at him and it's not meant to be bashing him, because maybe there's some issues he has and had to have stuff done.
But I was like,
it's a little unsettling because it doesn't look like the same person.
And I think just because we had just seen that other movie a few weeks ago, that I was like, wow.
But that movie was also from 1993 or something.
I know. I guess I expect everyone to stay.
I know.
Anyways, it was a fine movie. It's an action movie. It's what you expect from an action film.
Yeah. So
grab the popcorn.
If you like any of the actors in it, or you just want to see some people getting shot and smacked around, this is a movie to check
There
out.
you
It's
go.
kind of a brainless movie to just
It's
watch
just
and have a
fun.
good time with. And the best part about this movie is this was the introduction of the director, Scott Adkins, and now they're doing 2 other movies together. So I'm very excited.
Very good. All right, now we're going to go in a completely
It's available
different...
now on the Blu-ray and DVD.
Well, we're going to a different direction now. Completely different direction, timeline, story, everything.
Yeah, so this was olden times. They just released the anniversary edition.
Olden times. We're not that old.
And you had seen this movie,
I had
right?
seen it once.
But it was back when it came out.
Yes, I think I was telling you. I
Or
remember
maybe-
watching it with my brother at home, so we must have watched the video.
So we're talking about the
The
Lost
VHS.
Boys, one of the most
Okay, so
pop culture popular vampire
VHS
movies.
was the video thing that you stuck into and you had to hit play, and then when you were done, you had to rewind it, because if you didn't take it back rewound, they'd charge you like $1.
That's why if you ever hear me, if you know me and you ever hear me and you borrow a movie from
where's
me,
your shirt? You
my
have
Blockbuster shirt. Every time somebody borrows a Blu-ray or DVD from me, I always ask them if they rewound it.
Yeah, be kind, rewind.
And it's funny, the people that laugh and the people that are confused, you know which generation you're talking
Yeah,
about.
because it was a thing. Be kind, rewind.
So they just recently released The Lost Boys and Poltergeist on 4K for the first time.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Now I posted a review for Poltergeist. We didn't get to watch it together.
Oh, that's okay.
But
It's a good
we did
movie.
watch The Lost
It's a great
Boys 'cause
movie.
For those of you who know this show, know that my lovely wife is a massive vampire fan.
I'm team vampire.
Yeah, she's team vampire because she's wrong. But
I know you're team werewolf, but we would be basically like in the other. We would create a new hybrid.
you think that's what would happen?
Yes.
We'd never be able to hang out because you couldn't even be a vampire. You can't stay up past 11:30.
I meant my time change.
You'd be all like, "It's time to feed."
You're funny.
And you try to kill me every night because I'm only a werewolf like full moon once a month or something.
That's true. I'd have to.
The rest of the time, I'd be living my life to the fullest, and you'd be all like every night.
I need blood. I need blood.
So anyway, so we decided to watch The Lost Boys because she hadn't seen it in forever.
Yeah,
I love this movie like a lot of people. So if you're ever really in the mood to watch a movie with a topless saxophone player, then this is the movie for you.
Or if you want to see the two Corys.
That's right.
I mean, that's kind of what they're drawing.
So now,
if you want to see what happened to what's his name before, he must have found the antidote to become human.
Kiefer Sutherland?
Kiefer Sutherland becomes American hero and a president.
And then the president.
Heck yeah. I'm still convinced he would be a good president in real life.
I don't know.
Vampire turned actor.
I love all things Kiefer Sutherland, but yeah.
I think he'd be a good president.
So, you know what my favorite Kiefer Sutherland movie is of all time?
Oh no, I don't think I've seen that many of his movies.
It's not really a Kiefer Sutherland movie. It's an ensemble.
Not the ensemble. I think this is the only movie I've ever seen with him.
That's not true. You've seen more movies in there. You probably don't even realize.
I probably don't.
One of my favorite Kiefer Sutherland movies of all time is Young Guns.
Oh, I have seen Young Guns. Okay.
I think that was from Young Guns too.
Oh, because I'm a cowboy.
Yeah, that's Steel Horse. Yeah, I think that's from. I don't remember. I love that movie. Have you ever seen Young Guns?
I have seen Young Guns. I think
we
watched it together. Yes, and I think we watched it together.
I love those movies
because you love it. I just love some John Bon Jovi.
What's really funny? I know we're not talking about Young Guns. But I have to tell this story because I always will mimic things from movies. If I see something's really cool, I gotta try to figure out if I can do it.
Young Guns for the young guns
what year
out
was
there
that?
have no idea what Young Guns is. 1988.
Okay,
Woo-hoo!
yeah. So I was still in high school-ish. What was I graduated in 92, so I would be a freshman?
Probably.
I was either in 8th grade to 9th grade area.
Yeah.
So anyway, the end of the movie, they throw a trunk out of a window, rolls off the upstairs window, rolls down the side of the house into the front yard.
Oh no!
And the trunk
didn't.
Hold on, the trunk burst open and Billy the Kid is in it shooting, right?
Yes.
I'm like, that is the greatest sequence I have ever seen. And so I got a box.
Oh no!
And I didn't go out of a top window. I didn't even get to the roof.
Didn't.
I got stopped before the roof part happened, but I did get a box. And
you were gonna throw yourself out a window?
I was gonna do it off the roof of the house.
Oh my god, babe!
But I had some. I got into a regular a cardboard box.
You're so dumb.
I didn't have a trunk.
You're so dumb.
And I had someone push me down a hill, and I was trying to land and come out of the box and see if I could do it because I'm not stupid. I wanted to get on the house and not train first. And so a friend of mine would roll the box first, so we'd see if the box would hold it. Of course, it's a cardboard box, so it just tears up.
Yeah, it didn't.
So we put paint sticks in it to try to frame it, and rolled it a few times. Finally got it to work. So finally, I'm gonna do this. He rolled it out. and I go to jump out of it, not realizing I'm upside down. I smash my head on the thing, and I'm upside down. So needless to say, we decided not to move forward with that stunt. It's just like Indiana Jones and the whip swinging. That shit don't work.
No, it didn't. Did you fall on your back?
Oh, numerous times. Because one time I hit it and it stuck. I'm like, yes. And I went to swing, and it came off while I was like this, and I just came straight down.
Straight down.
So.
Wow.
Anyway, moving on.
Poor mom.
Let's talk about the Lost Boys. My mom doesn't even know half this stuff happened. I just would limp home and she'd be like, "Hi."
Oh gosh.
So,
anyway,
you hadn't seen Lost Boys since forever. I love this movie.
Probably back in the 90s.
I wanted to see the new 4K release of it. So, being an 80s movie and you haven't seen it with adult eyes.
Correct.
What did you think of the movie?
I still like the movie. I think it's really good. I think looking back now, there's a couple of effect things that don't look as great, but I like that during it, everybody, they were wearing like real makeup and prosthetics. I like that. The part at the end with the one dude is like way overdone with the super red lights. You know, but that was the time of extreme lighting. So instead of the flares, now that we have the light flares and flashes, it was a super extreme red light, and I'm like, okay, this is a little over the top.
You don't understand cinematography. So what happened was the lighting is emoting the moment.
No, it's a lot, right?
And it's the metaphor of the blood that they drink, and so it's like, and that's giving you that tone.
Now the soundtrack is awesome. Because a lot of my rock songs from that time period.
I always love this movie because it's like
a good movie.
It's like horror meets Goonies.
Yes,
and I love that they went like really old school, that we really never watched the vampires fly around, but you knew they could fly.
Yes,
you know, you've got that camera zooming in. This would be shot really badass with a drone now.
Yes,
and so the camera coming down on somebody's face. And
what's my show that I like? It reminded me of that. Is it that same time period?
What show you're talking about?
Forever Night.
Oh,
because it's the same thing where you never really see him fly, but you see the vampire movement.
Well, I didn't even like. I just like that you see the victim, and then the camera be like, "Shh."
And it was how Forever Night was.
I know. I didn't care about that. I tried to get to that show.
It was in '92. I figured like it really took from this. Yeah, it did.
The movie's also so iconic for the cast and the people involved in making it. You know, Joel Schumacher, who went on to ruin the Batman franchise. Rest in peace. He's passed on now. You know, you had Kiefer Sutherland, who was lesser known, if known at all at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You had Alex Winter, who from Bill and Ted.
Yes.
Who was not Bill and Ted yet.
Yeah.
You know, you had young Jason Patric, who took over the Speed franchise. And you had, you know, obviously the first film with the two Coreys.
The Coreys.
It kind of spawned a history of the two Coreys fame.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been a fan of both the Coreys, despite one of them, we won't say which one it is, but it's the one that's not dead that's kind of gone crazy-ish. You know, but it's one of those movies that I watch, and it's a little cheese. It's fun. It's ridiculous. Some of the dialogue is dumb, but it's so awesome.
And I think, though, too, it's still in that realm of your iconic vampires and vampire lore. And I like that the Frog Brothers introduce us to, hey, here's your vampire rules you need to know.
And they use it through comic books.
Yes.
It made it even fun. I think that's why I connected when I was a kid.
Okay.
Because I was a fan of the comics. I'm like, oh, there's comics in this movie. You know,
in the vampire lore about, like, garlic and the stake through the heart and all the things that you come to know about vampires, you know, perhaps for a new generation here in the 80s, late 80s, that we needed to know, because before this, what vampires were happening?
Well, we had all the Dracula stuff, the original stuff.
Yeah,
and
but
then,
that was way.
You know, there was other things kind of coming out
here and there. But
this was kind of, I think, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this was kind of the pinnacle of vampire films at the time.
Yeah,
it changed the genre. We had Near Dark, stuff like that. I don't know if you've ever seen Near Dark with Bill Paxton and Lance Henriksen vampire movie.
I did.
So good.
Yes.
It's great too, but it's another one. And I like in this movie, there's a spoiler alert. There's a moment where the big reveal, and they're like, but we used holy water on you, used garlic on you. And then they played up the old classic, but you invited me in, so it negates everything. Because I remember thinking that when I first saw the reveal.
You were like,
when I was a kid, I'm like, hey,
that didn't
why
make
is
no
he
sense.
so special? And I'm like, that one line is so important to what happens, they're like, oh, that makes so much more sense, that to do that.
Also in the 80s, we had Fright Night.
Oh, Fright Night's so good.
Vampire Kiss, I did see that.
Vampire Kiss is a comedy though.
I know, but still, it was fun.
I think we had the Jim Carrey one Once Bitten back then too.
Yeah,
that's another silly. Anyway, but the I think it really looks, the 4K transfer looks really good.
It looks really good. Yeah.
It's a great addition to the thing. There's so many just great little scenes. I really also like that the only real outside of the face prosthetic that you get to see that they're otherworldly is when they cut to their feet and they're like bat feet.
Yeah, that was kind of creepy. I didn't like that. But that's very Dracula.
But that makes you remind you that these are not human people.
Correct.
Because the rest of the time they're doing human things outside of.
Well, that also too about the smell and the flies and the that whole dead thing. So I think
I think this has one of the best final sequences of any movie.
Yeah.
Because of the way it ends and the old man's line at the end, and they made 2 sequels to this movie.
Did they?
I believe it's 2. Years later, they're not good.
Oh, that's too bad.
I think they both have Corey Feldman in it, and I think the third one had the other Frog brother.
Oh,
but he had become a vampire.
Oh no!
And so that was kind of thing. I think Corey Haim was supposed to be involved before he died, and they finally got it made. I don't remember exactly. But anyway, don't worry about them. Just
FYI.
Just watch this one and pretend the other ones didn't happen.
All right then. Wow.
Because they're not good.
It's a good movie. It's classic. I think if you haven't seen it, you need to check it out. Don't be all like, oh, it's the 80s. I don't think it's super dated. I mean, I think it's still. There
was The Lost Boys, and then jumped to 2008 was The Lost Boys, The Tribe, and then 2010 Lost Boys, The Thirst.
Wow. Okay. I think it translates to today. I don't think it's super dated.
No, it's dated just from the visuals of their
but not really.
And stuff, the behavior, that kind of stuff.
But
not so much as to like, oh my god, this is the 80s.
No, you can't even tell. I don't think some of it.
It's more dated by the cinematography style.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you. The lighting, the style of shooting, and then just some of the ways they do things. But yeah, it's cool. The only thing too that I think is still unexplained is the plumbing issue. Because you and I had.
Oh yeah, that never made sense.
But that's okay. We'll let that go.
So fun fact, the worst part I went to look real quick. It's been so long. So the Lost Boys, The Tribe, like I said, it came out in 2008. I feel like
we've seen this.
It does in fact star Corey Feldman. It also has Angus Sutherland, which I believe is the younger brother, who came in as a different character. I believe he's Shane. So I think it's basically the same movie,
perhaps.
And then hold on, The Thirst. Once again, brought in Corey Feldman. Let's see. Edgar from Jameson Newlander came back, but it's like a small scene where he shows back up. If I'm not mistaken, he was a vampire, and so anyway. So yeah, just pretend those other 2 don't exist and watch this one.
Okay, well there you go.
Although I will say, if they put the other 2 out on 4K or whatever, I'm gonna have them, so I have to say.
Yeah, we will not say no to watching those again.
And I'll probably force you to watch them.
I will watch them
because I know you love Corey Feldman.
Yeah, he's so bizarre.
Was it him or his wife you had an issue with when we met them at Frightmare that one year?
I don't know.
Because this was before he went completely off the rails.
Well, just watching their show of them anyway, they were both odd.
Well, yeah, this was the wife that was on the show before they divorced.
Yeah, I don't even know, y'all. Anyway. They're too weird. Too much.
She was like, I am not going to talk to them.
It's like, It might have been him.
It doesn't matter. I've got a photo with him and his autograph stuff. So
okay. Anyways, where do we want to go now?
All right. I don't care. Pick one.
Here. Tell me about this.
Okay. So the next one we're talking about is a movie called Preman Silent Fury. Preman is I believe it's an Indonesian action flick.
Perfect.
It's another movie through Wellgo USA. I was super excited for this because let me open it up. I want to read you the synopsis for this.
Okay.
The synapses, which is not even the same word. All right. So it says it follows a deaf Indonesian gangster who is thrust into the fight of his life when he takes on dangerous former allies, including a sociopathic assassin, in order to protect his child after his son witnesses a brutal murder by a notorious crime boss. So the story itself is nothing that we haven't seen before.
Okay.
A witness that needs to be protected and people trying to kill him. This guy is not a good guy really anyway. He's part of this kind of a bully group that I guess kind of walk around the city and kind of rough people up and collect, almost like a mob type thing anyway. But the guy is deaf. So I thought it was obviously I connect with more deaf things these days because of my own hearing issues. So, but when they put something in there, I'm interested in how they're going to handle that aspect of the show. What's he going to do to make something else? And if you look at the image, he's holding that rope with a ball on the end of it. So I was like, yes, he's going to be whooping somebody. And he does. He beats the crap out of people. The movie is fine, but the action wasn't as awesome as I thought it was going to be. It's not bad. It's generic at best. There's some great moments, but as a whole, I felt like a lot of it was a little, I don't want to say if it's disappointing or misleading, because I think the trailer that I watched for it made it feel like it was going to be a heavier martial arts flick, and it feels like more of a brutal fighting flick. Where like just people hitting each other and not really choreographing it. And that's two different kinds of vibes.
Yeah.
The people that don't know the difference, maybe it doesn't affect you, but when you're somebody like myself who is not only obsessed with it, but I do some of this in real life, it's like I see the difference, and if I'm expecting this one thing and it's not that,
it's something
it kind of throws me off for a little bit. I don't want to say it's a bad movie because it's not. I enjoyed it. It just, like I said, it's very generic. It's very kind of middle of the run. Didn't love it, didn't hate it, enjoyed it, probably wouldn't watch it again. There's no fight scenes I would jump to, that kind of thing. But I've heard other people thought it was kinetic fight energy, and I've heard other people that didn't think the movie is great, but they love the action. So it's all,
it's all relative.
Yeah, it's relative, your opinion on the action stuff itself.
That's okay.
And I also know that I'm
we're very picky. You are way more pickier when it comes to fight scenes and watching fight choreography. And now it's rubbing off on me, because I noticed today in the show that I'm watching today, the vampire show, I can tell where they sped it up and stuff, and I'm like, ugh.
Well, see, and it's relative to the type of film and the story too. Like, I don't have to have flashy jump kicks and stuff. I'm fine watching a Chuck Norris, or Bruce Lee was not flashy. It was very traditional style stuff. Chuck Norris was that. Don the Dragon Wilson is like that. I love those guys. But it fits the vibe of the films they're doing. Scott Adkins, I expect him to be the same thing, but somewhat a little more dynamic. If I'm watching a Tony Jaa or Iko Uwais, I expect it to be over the top insanity, So it's as you see it, and maybe the Raid has screwed up Indonesian films for me, because you expect, it's an Indonesian action film, we're going to get the Raid
again.
The Raid, this is not. But it's decent. It's not, like I said, I don't want to make it sound like I hated it, because I didn't hate it. I didn't struggle to get through it or anything like that. It just wasn't what I hoped it was. Yeah. But it's still good. Okay, good. Does that make sense?
Yes. So as long as you go into it without any preconceived ideas.
Yeah, just go in there expecting an action flick.
Perfect.
And like I said, the deaf element gave it a unique feel.
Do they do anything where like his other senses are heightened or anything, or
not that I can remember? I watched this a couple of weeks ago now, not that I remember. They deal with him being deaf and how he communicates sometimes, and stuff like how he, like, there's a fight thing and it kind of uses the deaf thing to his advantage of communicating with somebody else. But
nice.
I didn't notice anything overly. Maybe that's also what kind of put me off, is it didn't play up into the story as much as I thought it was going to be.
I see.
So then it made me like, why did we need this element?
That's
you know
true.
what I mean?
Yeah,
like why is the deaf thing so important when it didn't really play that deep into the thing? Unless I missed something because
you're deaf and you didn't hear it.
That is a possibility, but this movie was also subtitled because it was in Indonesian, so I had to read it anyway.
Sometimes it does happen.
Yeah, but this was not an English movie. I had to read it no matter what.
Oh, Lord. Y'all don't know how many times we come out of a movie and you're like, okay, now tell me, because I don't think I heard this. This is this guy. Tell me, what did they say?
Most of the time I know, though.
You figure it out by the context of the rest of the movie. You get it. So, anyways.
I don't like bothering you during the movie, and I'd also, sometimes I don't even ask, because I'm like, if you're in a pissy mood, I won't even ask you, because I'll be like, because then she'll be like, oh, you don't listen.
Put your headphones on.
And then I put them on, and sometimes they don't work, or sometimes they're too loud, or sometimes they're too jumbled. Like we watched The Woman King, they were the best headphones ever, but their accents and the tone of the movie was just like, I couldn't understand it. Damn thing. So I had to take them off completely.
That's all right. Okay.
Anyway, it's available now, and we're also giving away one on our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com.
So if you want to try to watch it and say, hey, I don't have to spend money, I can watch it, you can try to win it. And they also have it on the Hiya streaming network through Wellgo USA, which it's literally like $4 a month.
Yes, for all the action movies you can stand.
They have tons of stuff. There's Cynthia Rothrock, Sammo Hung.
Do they have the one with the guy doing this?
The one-armed swordsman?
Where you can see his hand in the back of the shirt?
I don't
I love that movie.
That might be on there. I don't know. But it's got a bunch of Donnie Yen stuff.
Is that 4 Element movie on there?
No, it's not on there.
Oh,
sadly.
shoot.
It's only what stuff Wellgo has licensed to show. There's some Cynthia Rothrock stuff. There's a bunch of other random stuff. There's horror stuff. It's not just martial arts. They have some of their horror stuff on there, too.
Watching that.
I watch stuff on there all the time. I know you
all right.
Do. They just added some Yun Bao stuff on there I was watching.
All right, well, let's
go. She has no idea who that is. I do that all the time. I'll throw a character out. She goes, oh,
that's cool.
She tries to act involved.
That's cool, babe.
Yeah, and then I'll be like, you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Nope, but that's cool.
That's still my favorite moment. This is a comic book flashback. It was our very first convention we were doing.
Oh, Lord.
And I've told this story probably on the show before, and I was nervous because I was set up for the first time as an artist. I was doing some stupid egg sketches I used to do.
That's cute.
And they became very popular for a while. And somebody came to the table and had asked for some sketches and this was Sarah. And she came and she asked for this. She goes, also, can you do one for James? And come to find out it was James O'Barr, which she was dating at the time, who was the creator of The Crow. And so she didn't know who any of these people were. And so I'm like keeping it together. I'm like, yeah, cool, no worries. I'll do whatever you want, whatever. And then she walks away and I'm like, honey, oh my God. She's like, what? And I'm like, she just asked me to do a sketch for James O'Barr. She goes, oh my God, I don't know who that is.
That exactly like that, too.
It was exactly like that. And I just was like, I was excited and crushed me at the same time because I knew I was alone.
Sorry.
Well, you didn't do it on ppurpose. You just had no idea who it was.
But I got excited for you.
You did. But then I don't know who that is, just crushed me like.
I'm sorry.
Oh, anyway. All right. What do we got next, sister?
Oh, Lord. I was going to go here.
Okay. Oh.
Okay. Is that one okay?
No, that's fine.
Because there's only this and that. All right.
Just 2 more?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, there's 3 more.
There is?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. But we're doing that other one last.
Sorry.
Okay, so this is a Netflix movie, so you can go watch it after the show, and it's called I Used to Be Famous. What is it about, babe?
Oh, am I doing this? I've been talking so much, I thought you
were talking okay. About so this is basically about a man here who used to be famous in a boy band. And this is like 20 years later. Obviously, he's not famous anymore because he says, I used to be famous. And he's trying to basically create his own sound, his own music, and kind of make that big comeback that he's always been waiting for.
And who's in it?
This nice man right here that's on the poster. I don't know what his name is.
I believe it's Ed Skrein.
Okay. Ed Skrein.
He's the bad guy, one of the bad guys in Deadpool.
Oh, okay.
He's the one that is doing all the torture on Deadpool and is the main bad guy.
Oh, he is?
Yes.
I didn't even recognize that.
Yeah, because he got the teeth. Look up the pictures real quick.
I see.
Leo.
Well, I'm going to go to him too.
Anyway.
I'll get back to it.
Yeah.
Hold on. And then the other guy in the picture is Leo Long, who's the guy with the drumsticks there.
Now, is he actually?
He is. Autistic? So this is what I needed to tell you. He is a musician who has performed with the London Youth Folk Ensemble and the National Youth Orchestra, and he identifies as neurodiverse. Okay. And basically, he's excited to do the movie and to bring music and stuff out there because music therapy is one of those things.
But is he autistic?
Well, he.
I know what he classifies as.
Neurodiverse. I don't know. That's just what it says.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
I mean, he's only done
in the movie. He's has
like
autism.
This
right?
is his first movie ever.
Right, but in the movie, the character has autism.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Correct. So. Anyways, this is his very first movie, and he's
really
amazing.
Good in it. I liked him in this.
So movie. Amazing. He's an actual musician, though, and I think it's one of the things that to me is so interesting how music can help with so many things. I don't know if you remember the video that was going around about the little old lady who is what's the word? Alzheimer's. Got the Alzheimer's, but they played music, and she used to be a ballet dancer.
Oh, yeah,
Remember, she starts trying to do ballet from her wheelchair?
Yeah.
Because music has that ability to take us back. But also, like in the instance of this, with the story of this, he plays Stevie, the little boy. It has the ability to actually calm him and give him something to focus on when he starts kind of flailing out, which I need to remember the term for it. And I apologize. I'm not up on my terms, but we talked about it the other day with my friends because it was happening with one of her kids at the class. Anywho, I just thought this was awesome.
What class?
At school.
Huh?
At school.
At what?
At school. When are kids at school? Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. Keep going. Keep talking, babe.
I wasn't saying anything. You were.
Anyways, I just thought it was cool.
So the movie is good.
I just say I thought this little boy was so good.
Yeah.
I know the movie's not even really about him. It kind of is.
It is. It's about the two guys,
and it's about the relationship, and it's about the guy trying to make the comeback. But at the same time, he finds this little boy that has so much talent and potential.
What's interesting is they both, if you want to classify, say the word disabled, they're both technically disabled socially.
Correct.
Whereas, the young kid, while he's dealing with his autism, he has issues being around lots of people and loud noises and aggressive behaviors around him kind of stress him. But the other guy is trying to find his way after kind of losing everything.
Yeah.
And he's kind of being mocked and treated. So he's essentially, despite being famous when he was younger, he's being mocked just like people tend to mock people that are special needs or different or whatever. Well, and so they're both kind of, even though, and what I liked about this movie is that there's only one moment, but Stevie's character is never really treated that way.
Correct.
Except for one moment in the film, which unhinges the other guy.
Correct.
Who should have control.
Correct.
And it's,
well, and I think too, because as we get through the story of our main guy, you find, Vince is his name, you find out that just because he was famous doesn't mean he didn't suffer trauma or suffer through some of these things silently, whereas that we see the boy actually suffering and everyone knows and is a little more compassionate. But in his time, he suffered too, but it was so silent, he was so shut down that he wasn't even allowed to express it.
And it's I'm turning to you. It's interesting.
It is interesting.
You say interesting every
I say interesting every all the time.
Word. There's a subtle sub-story too about the mom, Stevie's mom, that's really not front and center, but it slowly is unfolding as the rest of the story of these two guys comes together, that I thought was an interesting thing, because they didn't need to be there, but it made the evolution of her character and her connection and her understanding of everything, because there's a lot of back and forth of, I need you to stay away from my son needs you, get away from him, that it became repetition to the point where I was starting to become annoyed. But then I realized what they were doing and why, because she was being so protective. But as a movie, it was annoying me, not her behavior. As a movie, I'm like, okay, are we going to just spend 2 hours, get together, get away from each other, get together, get away from each other? And how many times, and why she accepted it so fast all the time. And, it's an interesting dynamic when you see her story unfold. It makes all of it make more sense.
But then also, too, if you notice Vince's mom, his mom's in this, too. And she is just completely shut down because of what happened in the past.
Yeah.
And he's still trying desperately to connect to her. And I think in a way he sees Stevie and his mom. They have this close bond. And he's like, I wish I had that with my mom. But because what had happened, there's such this big broken relationship between the two of them that they can't connect. So
then Stevie very much kind of mimics the scenario of his past, which you find out a little bit later.
That's why I'm saying they're so connected in a way, but I feel like Vince, because he had to shut it all down and keep it quiet, but he sees that Stevie, he's able to just live it out loud and not have to shut it down. Like, you can just be who you are, you can deal with your stuff, and people just need to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other thing I like about this. I mean, we've seen this kind of go around. There's the meme on Facebook about, how they teach people on the spectrum how to get along in the real world. Well, why don't they teach us how to get along with them?
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. There's nothing wrong with them. They just have to learn.
There technically is, but not because they're
medically.
Yeah, but they can function. Most of them can function in society.
But it's us,
and most of them are way better people than we are.
Yeah, because you remember when we say there's something wrong and you keep thinking what's wrong? Hey, it's probably you. We read that.
When you point at somebody and you got, they say 4 fingers, but it's really only 3 fingers, because if you make a thing, you're...
No, and we read that at church today. The verse, it's like something of well, the sin may be in me. Hey, it could be you. But that's the thing, is he sees that everyone is... Stevie's able to get along with everyone in every world, and people just accept it. Yeah. But he, I think, was always longing for that acceptance, even though he was rich and famous and had everything, but so much happened to him. He was longing for that acceptance. That he never had.
Also really like, and this is kind of a silly aspect, but this is a Hollywood thing that they feel the need to infuse in movies like this. So there's another member of the boy band that made it big in the solo career, which is always the story we get.
Always happens.
So one that didn't do well, there's always one.
There's always the Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, there's a Justin Timberlake and everyone else. But in this one, when they reconnect a little bit, they didn't make the guy a dick.
Correct.
And in these movies, usually when they go back to see them, the guy's a dick, and there's a little dismissive nature, but at the same time, you could tell there was a friendship there. And they do little things with that character to show, okay, this character is not an asshole. He really cares about him. He really kind of wants to be there. And they could have easily made that another fractured thing that didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, in the world of boy bands, be a Joey Fatone, my friend. Get out there, diversify. He has his hamburgers or his hot dog stands or whatever. He has a TV show. He hosts things. He's all over the place. So, I mean, that's what you got to do. You got to stay relevant. So, I'm telling you, this was such a good movie for a movie I didn't even know what it was. And I was just like, meh,
Here's
whatever.
What's funny is I kept asking
I'm all into it now.
I kept asking you about watching it. And every time, what's that? And I would explain to you, oh, yeah, I want to see that. Then you want to watch that? What's that? This happens all the time with movies.
I know.
She doesn't know anything about anything.
I don't.
She gets through a whole day.
Because I know about that stuff.
But I'll ask her about something. Literally, I could tell her now, and in 3 minutes we'll be cooking dinner, and I'll say something. What is that? I'll be like,
sorry, but this movie was really good. I'm just telling you, it got me.
It got
me in the feels.
It's kind of lighthearted for most of the movie. It's fun. It's musical. But there's depth to it. It gets emotional. It's a little cliched at times. It's not like. It's one of those movies like any romantic comedy style movie that you kind of know where it's going to go. Yeah. So there's not a lot of surprises, if you will. But for what it is, it's a feel-good movie that has a lot of heart. And,
it's really good. So make sure your kids watch it. Yeah. Learn to love people.
I didn't think the movie music was all that great, but...
Nah, it was fine, but... It's not even about that. I think it's really the story.
I mean, Stevie's drumming was good.
Of these two people who actually find out they have more in common than you know. And I think that's the reality of life. We probably have something in common with everyone we meet, but you never take the time to find out.
I do.
So I know you do. You talk to strangers. I don't. So
I take candy from strangers.
Oh, goodness. Don't do that. You're going to get the candy with the razor blades this year.
Pocket candies.
Anyways, moving on to the next
For you to movie. Say.
I can't even say it. Who knows what the subtitles are going to read there? Because the auto subtitle on this.
That's why I like periodically go little.
Let's go see what it writes.
All right. So our next Netflix movie is called Lou, starring Allison Janney. And are you trying to turn one?
Yeah, I'm going to see what it says. All right, it'll catch up in a minute.
Starring Allison Janney and Jamie, is it Jamie? Which one is it?
Oh, it clicked. I wasn't paying attention.
That's okay.
But the live captions are on. It does
Hold
work.
on. What is the lady's? It's whatever. So Journey's Smollett. It's the brother of the guy that faked getting attacked. The other Josie Smollett, Jesse, whatever it is.
Jesse.
I always get his name wrong because Dave Chappelle does the whole thing calling him Josie Smollett. It says he's French. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's really funny. It's a funny bit. Anyway.
So this is
Journey.
And they really are related?
Yeah, she's his brother. I mean, his sister.
My.
Okay. She's also Black Canary in the...
Yeah, okay. I was like...
Movie. Anyway, it's Allison Janney and Journey Smollett. And it's an action flick.
Guys, all you need to know about this is Allison Janney kicking some butt. That's all you need to know. Go watch it.
I literally just watched a video of Daniel Bernhardt, who I was telling you, hey, that's Daniel Bernhardt, the guy that's in the cabin.
Okay.
That she burns with his face on the pipe.
Yes.
She fights with him. He's the fight choreographer for the movie.
Oh.
He's also he's the one that I interviewed that stood up and bowed to me during the interview. What are you looking at?
Oh, no. I was making sure.
Anyway, I watched the video talking about him and her and talking about her training that she did.
Oh, the fight training?
Yeah, that she was all in. It was showing her fight training.
That's awesome.
She did most of the fighting, and she's always wanted to try something like this, but didn't think she could do it. And he was saying it was like the most fun he's had working with somebody. And
that's awesome.
And talking about how she did majority of everything that she did on that they allowed her to do.
That's cool.
So the premise of the movie is they're in this island.
Yes.
And there's a storm a brewing.
Always a storm.
It's like kind of like Hard Rain and those kind of movies where the storm is going to happen, but then there's some kind of action that's going to happen. And Lou is this secluded old lady, lives on like this in this wood cabin kind of thing with her dog, but she rents a house to this lady and her little girl, and she's very cold. She's very like, bring me the rent. She's like, what's his name? Joe Pesci in the Super. Give me the rent. Give me the rent. Have you never seen that movie?
No.
It's funny. But then the storm hits, and then something happens to the lady's little girl, so they set out on a journey to try to find the little girl, and madness and action and the environments step in way, and then mysteries are uncovered and twists and turns.
Because suddenly she knows how to fight and stuff. So I was like, So
well, I did too, but I kind of assumed before it became obvious we were going that direction. I assume, she lives in the woods. She's probably some kind of a hunter because it starts off with her kind of being a hunter.
Out hunting.
So she can probably is a survivalist.
Yeah,
and can probably do stuff. People. So, but yeah, it's very much in that realm of Atomic Blonde and Taken and that kind of stuff with the older actress that's in a role you're not used to. And this movie just further proves that Allison Janney can do anything.
Well, she's an Academy Award-winning actress.
Well, she is, but she's done comedies, she's done dramas.
She can do anything. This is such a good movie too, by the way. It is just
she's really good in it.
It's really good. I mean, the action's great, but the story's good, and she's good in it too. I mean, the other lady's fine, but I'm like comparing the two. This is an Allison Janney movie. And that dog is the cutest little dog. It's the ugliest, scruffiest little dog I've ever seen, and I loved him. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. We can't really tell you what happens. There's a lot of
twists and turns that we don't want to spoil for the movie.
But you just need to go watch this.
But yeah, it's another one that's kind of it can be classified as a generic action flick, but it's got plenty of twists and turns to the story. Like I said, a lot of good fights, and a lot of good just.
It's just good stuff.
Yeah, it's just a good action flick, man.
It's a good movie, man.
That you wouldn't expect. It's a thing like I saw the poster for this, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch this movie.
Well, and I just wanted to watch it because it was her.
Well, I did too, and then I thought it looked like it was going to be like just dealing with the weather, like dealing with this hurricane or whatever they're dealing with. And I'm like, I don't need another weather movie. But once I realized there's a little more action to it, and there's something. It's this movie reminds me more of like Cliffhanger. In the realm of it's an environmental kind of thing.
Yeah.
But there's another sub-action plot. So the environment becomes just as dangerous as the criminal element that you're dealing with, and you kind of fuse them. It's nowhere near the same movie, but because Allison Janney's not in Cliffhanger.
No, but still, it is a really good movie, and you need to watch it. So that's all. We're gonna
keep that one short because I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, there's some
good ass whoopings in it, and some good grumpy nature.
There's some good stuff.
So check out Lou on Netflix, and just report back on what you think.
There you go. All right, now we're going to talk about this.
All right, the last one we're going to talk about is not a movie, but in fact, the TV series spun off of a movie, which is the latest Star Wars Disney Plus series, Andor. It's following Cassian Andor from Rogue One, a.k.a.
Rouge One.
If you've never seen that poster, that was the best poster
because people can't spell Rogue.
Yeah, so if you've never seen that poster, they made people kept writing Rouge instead of Rogue, and somebody did a poster where everybody's wearing rouge.
Yeah, it was really funny. Rouge.
So the series hit this week, and it basically dropped the first 3 episodes. So for those of you who don't know about the show, it's a prequel to Rogue One, but it is the first series that's getting 12 episodes, and it's already been picked up for a second season of 12 episodes. So the plan for this series is for it to run these 24 episodes and lead directly into Rogue One. So there's not going to be anything after that, but they've kind of apparently plotted out spoiler kind of thing.
What?
But it was all because it's also been publicly reported.
Okay.
Now they could be throwing us for a curveball, but fans of K2SO do not expect to meet him until at least season 2.
Oh yeah, it's going to be way at the end.
Yeah. So a lot of people were like, "Why isn't he there already? Right away!" They announced it. Now who knows? They may throw him in there closer to the end of the season and surprise us. But
anyway. I will tell you, the droid that is there is amazing.
It's amazing how many times they keep redeveloping.
Was it anamorphic?
Yeah. It's square. It's got treads, and
but the development of they're characters.
They are,
like
and it's amazing to me how
it's a little square, but he does this.
They
and
keep
like,
creating new droids that are different, and they don't even need to. There's so many droids now. Correct. They could use everything they have, but they keep creating new ones. And it's not only that the new ones look and move cool, but they have so much emotion.
Yeah, for being a square box.
You know, R2D2 had so much emotion and has very minimal movement.
Correct.
BB-8 had a lot more movement to him, and so then you have this new one, and I don't remember his name.
That's what I was going to look at.
Oh, he's right there. B2EMO. It's like
because he's emo.
Yeah. It has multiple layers of movement, but it's still just a square that kind of does this.
But it's cool because at one point he's like, huh.
And it actually talks. Unlike a lot of the previous ones, instead of beep, 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 it has dialogue.
Yes, but his dialogue's jacked up too because he's been through some stuff. It's the cutest thing ever.
So this is definitely a different Star Wars.
This is kind of dark and gritty
than we've seen before. So
very dark.
And it's already been heard how much it's dividing people already because this is not our Star Wars.
No, it's not.
It's one of these things where Star Wars fans are the worst Star Wars fans. So you have either the really hardcore fans that keep positive and they like what they like, and then if they don't like it, they move on. You have the other ones that, outside of the original trilogy, they bash and hate on every single thing that's been made since. Then you have the ones that walk in the middle that try to they like what they like, but they try to keep it at peace. Like, I love all things Star Wars. There's not a single thing ever, I'm going to say this publicly, there's not a single thing ever that made Star Wars related that I have not enjoyed.
Wow.
Now, have I seen flaws in certain things? Of course. I think there's flaws in the original trilogy as well. But I still enjoy all of it for what it is. And I was concerned how I was going to feel about this show because it doesn't feel as Star Wars, but it feels more Star Wars than anything before it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. The tone is absolutely different. It's dark. It's gritty. It's just so anti what you imagine to be your happier scenes, where in Star Wars we don't see people necessarily get killed in the whole blood and guts thing. And not that you see a lot of that here, but it's different. I mean, things are happening. More violent. It's violent. You don't see that there, but you see it here. And I feel like we're in that weird, gritty time period where, you know, the Empire is kind of seeking control, but you don't even see them in this yet.
Yeah.
They're over there, but now we know we're under some sort of a rule, and the people at this point are trying to fight that. You know, they're banding together to trying to fight it. And his story is just that story of that outsider, that loner, that we don't even know where he's going or what's happening to him. And you get a little bit of history in it, but not too much. And I'm not spoiling anything.
There's actually 3 stories happening at once.
I feel
there's a story of Andor himself.
Yeah.
And you're getting the flashbacks to him as a child and kind of learning his history.
But I still feel like even as a child, he was that loner outsider thing. He didn't fit in anywhere.
Right. You're getting that story. Then you're getting another story of, this is the story I'm a little concerned on where they're trying to go, which is the people that are hunting him, which are more like a police force than they are the Empire.
But they report up to something.
So it makes me wonder, is the story of this guy taking him to become somebody that we know in the Empire as an officer or something, or is this just a birth of something else that we're about to find out about? And then there's also, which you haven't got to see some of this yet, I've seen the first 4 episodes, she's only seen the first 3, but you also have the story that's kind of the birth of the rebellion. You see that in the first 3 episodes, but we're seeing the rebellion start building because we're getting ready for A New Hope, or at that point the rebellion exists.
Yeah.
So that's not a surprise that the rebellion, and we all know from Rogue One that Cassian Andor is part of the rebellion.
Correct.
So we know that's where he's going. So
eventually.
That's not a shock. But we're seeing these kind of things happen at the same time. And it's interesting. And I've been begging for years, as much as I love all 9 of the movies and the spin-off movies and the TV shows and all the everything, I've been clamoring, like, can we get something that's not Skywalkers, not the same characters all the time? I want to see, we're in a galaxy far, far away, not in Cleveland far, far away. And not everything needs to be connected. I don't need a surprise guest every episode. I don't need to see the same aliens. I don't need Jedis every episode. I don't need stormtroopers or Darth Vader. I love that stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But I like that this show is none of that so far.
And I like there's more.
Yeah.
Like there's more out there, especially, I mean, if we are in a universe where you can fly to different planets, surely there's more.
Right.
And I like too that in this, there's more than just your white British speaking people.
Right.
I mean, not to be rude, but that's all we had in the first few movies, which is fine.
Well, see, everybody that's bad in space seems to be English.
Yeah, so there you go. But I'm gonna do a shout out to Diego Luna. Yeah. Because he's a Mexican dude, you know.
And
no, he's Mexican.
I know he is.
He's Mexican.
I know.
But I'm so excited about that we have him, but also we have this lady. The main chick, yeah. I love her too. I don't even know where she's from. Argentina. You don't know who she is?
No, yeah, you do. Her.
Adria Aroja.
Why would I know who she is?
I don't know.
You think I know every Mexican?
Yes.
Or Argentinian?
I'm born in Puerto Rico, raised in Mexico.
Oh, now I know who she is.
Was in Guatemala, was in Argentina, Puerto Rican, Guatemalan father. I mean, she's my people. But what do we know her from?
I remember
she was in Morbius.
Okay, that didn't. I know that now, but I didn't remember that.
Okay.
She was also in that Father of the Bride.
Oh, she was in Emerald City. That's how I remember her. That TV show.
Anything with Andor reminds me more so. Speaking on what you're talking about, reminded me. I don't know if you'll remember or not, but him telling the story about taking his father to see Rogue One, and remember I believe it was his father, and how his father got so emotional seeing because in the movie he even speaks Spanish at one point, I believe. And that,
something.
Then it speaks some other language. I believe it was something others. But his father being so surprised to see not only his son, but in Star Wars and a Hispanic person in Star Wars and as a lead character, he's not just somebody walking by. And
I mean, it's a big deal.
Representation matters.
Yeah, because his dad was in the industry, but I believe his dad was hold on. He was a costume designer. I mean, or something. His father, mother died. I don't know. He was in something. No, his mom was a costume designer. But I mean, he's, to see someone, if you're in Mexico, what you do is you do soap operas. You do telenovelas. So he did those. He did a lot of them. And he was famous and he was well known for those. And, in the movie Tu Mama Tambien, I mean, that was a big deal back then. I'm telling you, this was early.
I know, it's just funny.
But I'm just telling so to be able to transition that, to make it big, to like, an American movie.
Was he in Cantinflas?
He was not.
Okay.
But
was that Diego Luna? No, that was the other guy.
No.
Okay.
There's somebody else. But I'm just telling you. And then my favorite Diego Luna thing is when he did the voice in what's the little cartoon movie?
Is it
I cry at
Book of Life?
Book of Life. Book of Life. I cry every single time I watch that movie. Oh my gosh. But I'm just telling you, this is a big deal for us as a people over here, and our the main lady too. Just I'm just so in love with the show. And it is not your average Star Wars show. And I can see how it can be off-putting to some people because it doesn't seem Star Wars.
Well,
it seems like a space adventure, which is okay.
It is. And I think it's going to get more space stuff. I think we're going to get more Empire stuff.
Epic.
I think we're going to get, once you see what the next episode shows you, you'll see that we're starting to get in that direction. We're also going to get some stuff from a character that I don't think has ever got their due, who is a major character in the Star Wars universe, but they were always a character that's just kind of there. They weren't one of the leads. You'll know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say it out loud, even though everybody knows the character's there from the trailer, but I don't want to spoil that for the next episode. But I also like that, and I think part of it's going to grab some of the people the wrong way is there's a lot of elements in the show that are very mimicking of the world today.
Correct.
Of some of the political stuff and some of especially when you see the fourth episode, and the policing units and the way they're dealing with things, and it's
well, I mean, and you can even tell it in this last episode. You watch episode 3. I mean, where there's this obviously this class system, and if you're the poor minor people, you're treated like crap, and immediately they think you're hiding something, you're up to something, and there was like a police officer shot someone without cause. I mean, it's very much today's atmosphere, which is sad, but I do think that, unfortunately, we've talked about this, humans are the most dangerous thing on the planet. And I think in any civilization that will happen. Someone with power and authority goes overboard. And instead of, trying to make the place better, they think, hey, I'm in charge. I can do whatever I want to. I think we also need to talk. I don't know if we can talk about the lady, his mamacita.
What about?
Just that she's there and she's cool, and I was happy to see her.
To say who
And then this right here, that there's one of these in this show,
the Skarsgård.
That there's one of them in this show is a big deal to me.
Is it?
Yeah,
he's already in the Marvel universe, so why is this
I know. I expect them to just still be Vikings and go.
But he's not ever been Viking stuff. That's his kids.
I know, but I just think that adds some weight.
You think he's Viking because he was in Thor?
Maybe. It just adds weight to me that there is one of them in this show. It's cool to me.
Because Stellan Skarsgård,
yeah,
but he's in the trailer, so it's not a surprise.
Yeah.
There are now, just so you know, if you've seen the trailer, I'm not going to tell you who it is. There are some other familiar characters that do return.
Yeah.
That we saw in Rogue One and things like this. So it's not Rouge One. So it's not going to be a total thing. And I'm sure there'll be some surprises. And that's one thing I want to point out about this show is
that got me when I saw
at
that
the end
one
of each episode, it doesn't have a big what moment where every Star Wars show that we've had so far has had like a big moment that's like, ooh,
it just ends.
Oh, teaser, or a fun fact or a fun character show up to make you excited as a Star Wars fan. This show knows it has time.
Mm-hmm.
This show is not in a rush to get where it wants to go. So it ends like a regular television show. It just like close with somebody's face and then dun, and it's over.
That's it.
And sometimes you're like, wait, what? And I love that. It annoyed me the first time I watched it, but when I rewatched it with you, I'm like, I really dig that.
I like it. It could just end and I'm gonna be like, okay, we found out something new.
Yeah,
that's
interesting. And I think that's because it knows it doesn't have to rush. It doesn't have to tease you to get you to come back. It knows, hey, we're going to be doing 24 episodes of this crap. We take our time, tell our story, and get there, and we let's unfold and learn who these people are, because this is a character that we didn't need to know anything else about.
No.
It was fine in Rogue One as it is. We never needed to know anything more about Cassian Andor, but I feel that Cassian Andor was one of the most intriguing characters in Star Wars, because you found out the first moment we meet him in Rogue One, when he essentially murders that guy,
he's a bad guy.
He's not a good person.
No.
So why is this not a good person in the rebellion? And so I found him being a compelling character that I'm glad I didn't care if we ever heard more about him, but I'm glad we're seeing it.
And I think too, the other thing that really speaks to him is like, he's that everyman that's out there, that's stuck in the middle of the Empire and the rebellion and just trying to live a normal life.
He doesn't seem to care about anything but himself.
He's just trying to be there with his family, make some money, and have a better life. And I think that's so many people on this whole planet.
You can tell he's just shady.
Yeah.
He's, he doesn't care about anybody else, and he doesn't like the Empire because of what they stand for. So he's willing to shake him up just to do it.
But if you notice, everybody on this planet, they're just trying to survive. They're just trying to make a living, but they've got this whole oppression of the Empire and this and, all this stuff. But it's just like everyday people just trying to survive. And we have all this other crap that's going on in the world with politics,
there's
and
one throwaway line.
Everything else.
Not really a throwaway line, but it kind of speaks volumes to what you had talked about before about the class system, and talking about something he steals, and I'm asking how he got it. He goes, because no one would ever expect someone like me to be in their ship.
Yeah.
And so they kind of ignored him. Yeah. Because
I expected that to be about brown people. You ignore it because we're just the cleaning people.
Why would they? What does he say? He says something to the effect of, they're so full of themselves that they didn't even notice me standing there.
Correct. Don't ever ignore the cleaning people, my friends.
Yeah.
Don't ignore cleaning people and receptionists.
Or people that deal with your food.
I'm just telling you, no, because if you go for an interview, it's happened to me, and I've mentioned the receptionist. Like, I ask and I make sure I know because it comes up, because they have asked before if I knew what the name was, because they want to know. Don't ignore people.
They're the ones that have access to everything.
Well, and also when you see that, what's the undercover boss? Be nice to everybody.
Also, if you have a receptionist or a secretary or whatever you want to call it, you better be nice to her, because she knows everything about you.
Be nice.
Anyway, so Andor is on Disney Plus now. It dropped the first 3 episodes.
This doesn't seem very Disney. It didn't seem all.
It's not. This is a dark show.
It's dark, you guys.
I really dig it. I think it's going to be, in the bigger picture, I think it's going to be the most compelling of any Star Wars show we've had so far.
Yeah.
But it's because the other shows, as much as I love them all, Like Mandalorian, I love Mandalorian, but I'm so over Grogu and that whole storyline. The Boba Fett was a great show, but it felt like more fan service for popularity of the character. Obi-Wan, I loved Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan was probably my favorite show to date, but it also felt more of like because fans needed to see Obi-Wan again, and I'm all for it. I'd love to see more.
But
I
do love Obi-Wan because they took everybody. They were like, "Oh, Obi-Wan, we're going this way." That's not right. What you thought,
and it pissed people off.
But he was excited about it. That's why I think it worked, because you could tell he was excited about what they were making. It wasn't just Obi-Wan and Luke Skywalker and no.
What I find hilarious is, and we've mentioned this on the show before, is most of these kind of movies and shows, people complain when it's the same crap over and over and over.
Yes.
And as soon as they change it, they complain about, where's my lightsabers? Where are my lasers? Where are my TIE fighters? Because they don't want what they think they want.
Correct.
They can't accept that there's more.
There's more. Well, they just blame Kathleen.
But that's all the same people, too.
Let's just blame her.
Who?
Blame Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, ignore the fact that she was there for Raiders of the Lost Ark and
she's been there since the beginning.
Jaws and a lot of these other movies.
Knows.
I don't remember if it was Jaws, but she's been there for most of the crap. But she's bad now because
whatever.
Or it's Disney's fault. Now I'm not saying Disney hasn't made some changes that probably weren't the direction I would go. Like the original idea for Rise of Skywalker, when that's not what it was called then, sounded like a way better movie. But it's not the movie we got. And I like that movie. I like all 9, 10, 11 movies. There's not a movie I don't like, with the exception of, I might have to say Episode 1 is my least favorite of all the movies, but I still love the movie. So it's like...
Well, I think it's also nostalgic from watching it with the kids, too.
Well, and
it was really for them.
They made a point, and a lot of Star Wars fans, because they're immature, can't let go of the fact that the original trilogy was my generation. Mm-hmm. The prequel trilogy was my kids' generation. Mm-hmm. The new trilogy was this current generation's. These movies weren't our things. We took them and said they were ours because we got it first. And Jar Jar was not meant to entertain me. It was meant to introduce the new generation, just like C-3PO was meant to entertain us back then. Yeah. And if you can find the balance of the Force, then you can enjoy, and this goes with everything, it's just like the Lost Boys and the bad sequels and stuff. You can hate those and still love Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Or you can love all three of them. You might be somebody that love them just because it's Lost Boys. It's okay. And you don't have to fight about it. You don't have to argue about it. You don't have to bash somebody else because they enjoy something. Like I see somebody, and I have to step away too, because sometimes I feel the need to say something to somebody that's like, oh, this is just trash, whatever. And I'm part of a movie collectors group on Facebook page that's basically just people sharing pictures of their collections.
Oh, okay.
Which is what I thought it was. And every so often somebody will post something that starts these fights, and somebody posted, I love the new trilogy. Star Wars films, and then you see people, you're stupid and trash and this. I'm like, but why? I mean,
that doesn't hurt you that someone likes something you don't.
Yeah, and if you don't want to acknowledge any of this other stuff exists,
people can't be.
Watch what
nice.
You like and shut up.
People don't know how to be nice. If you don't have something nice to say, just shut it.
Too many people have a voice that shouldn't have one, much like us in this show.
But that's why we do our own show.
Yes. And I really don't.
And you still don't have to agree with us.
I don't give 2 craps what anybody thinks. I love my stuff, and I'm going to keep loving it.
You're wrong, but you don't have to agree with us.
If you don't agree with me, you're wrong. But that's another.
That's okay.
Anyway, Andor is available on Disney Plus now, and I love it.
Just kidding.
Love it.
Like what you like. Be you.
Moving on.
All right.
We love She-Hulk too.
Okay. Tell us what's coming out on the.
Oh, we're already to that.
On the Blu-ray or 4K.
So there's actually a little variety this week.
Nice.
There's a little Marvel movie coming, Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh,
it's getting the Blu-ray 4K release. It's currently also on Disney Plus already. The Mayor of Kingstown, which is a Jeremy Renner show from Paramount Plus.
Yes,
such a great show.
Got to watch this show. I love me some Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, and it's from the co-creator of, or the creator of Yellowstone co-created this film. I got to go correct. I had someone comment on my review for this that because I was referring to Tyler Sheridan, who's the co-creator of this show.
Yeah.
And because he's a major deal right now, so the context of the story was that he helped create another show, but I didn't write he helped create. I wrote he created. So the guy's like, you need to go fix your review because this other person also created this show. I'm
Sorry.
like, Jesus Christ.
Thank you.
I'm like, read the context of what my story is telling. Anyway,
it's all right.
Mayor of Kingstown, great show. Sound of Metal is getting a Criterion Collection release, which is a great movie.
Good.
I think that movie actually kind of opened your eyes a little more of what I would deal with.
Yes. Oh my gosh, and that was on my top movies of the
mine was on
the
that was
year
on mine too.
last year.
And she had sympathy for me for about a week and a half, and then it went away again.
No, it's an amazing movie.
The Superman and Lois: The Complete Second Season is coming out. Last Action Hero is getting a 4K Steelbook edition, which is another movie that got horrible reviews. People hate, and guess what? I love that movie. It's so ridiculously bad and awesome at the same time. Army of Darkness is getting a 4K release. The Evil Dead remake, which I loved as well, from 2013, is getting a 4K release. Vinnie Jones has a new movie called Bulletproof coming out. And probably one of the biggest, most controversial, surprising movies coming out on Blu-ray is also coming out simultaneously on Netflix.
What? Okay.
Which is Rob Zombie's latest movie, The Munsters. And people have lost their mind because most people think the trailer for The Munsters looks ridiculously stupid and bad and horrible. And movie was never meant to be a theatrical release. It was always going to be a home release. And it looks just like the show.
The TV show, right?
So I think
kind of silly.
We'll see. It may be horribly bad, but I'm going to tell you now, I love Rob Zombie and I love his movies, and I can't wait to watch this ridiculous movie.
Well, there you go. All right.
That's it.
Well, good, because that's going to be on my list. Because
that's what I'm saying. It's releasing.
Yeah, coming out Tuesday on the line on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be the Munsters movie, the new Rob Zombie film, and it's basically about kind of the show.
It's how, if I'm not mistaken, it's Herman and Lily meeting for the first time and dating and getting married. It's a love story. Cute. And shocking turn of events. Rob Zombie, it's a PG movie. It is not Rob Zombie's blood and guts. It's Rob Zombie's an insane fan of the Munsters.
Yes,
so this movie came from like a passion, love of the Munsters.
Love.
That's why I think he probably nailed it. People just don't want to see that.
People don't get it, maybe.
Yeah,
or maybe they didn't see the original.
And I think the big mistake, and I'm hoping maybe the Blu-ray release will have, well, I won't know until I see it, is that I think the movie should have been in black and white, not color.
Agreed.
But
that's okay.
We'll see.
All right. Also coming out online is a movie called, this Tuesday, is a movie called Control. It's about a woman that is locked. I wasn't going to do it. I'm in control.
I just anytime the word control comes up, she does that. So I honestly
Janet Jackson Control. Go
I
watch
just
it.
figured you were going to do that, but I love that just the way I looked at you knew what I was thinking about.
Go watch the video Control. I'll put a link. It's
you don't
so
need to
good.
see the video of Control.
Anyways, it's about a woman that's locked in a room, and a mysterious voice comes on a speaker and has her do complete some tasks and challenges if she wants to get out to go save her daughter. So that's interesting. Also coming out online is a movie called Girl in the Window. It's about this teenage girl who begins to believe that her mother's new boyfriend could be a serial killer.
Is that the Rhoda Mitchell movie?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Then coming out on Wednesday to Netflix is Bobby's girl crush here, Ana de Armas, playing Marilyn Monroe in the movie Blonde.
And I've heard some mixed things, and I think it's one of the first NC-17 movies coming to Netflix.
Wow.
Because I'm dealing with they said they're kind of pulling no punches with some of the sex stuff, and I believe even the sexual I don't want to say rape,
assault.
But assault.
Because she was, we find out later, and this happened a lot in old Hollywood, that the women to get the parts, couch. They had to do some stuff.
I believe that's it. But I also have heard that the movie's not great, but she's amazing. So we'll see.
Yes. Well, but make sure you understand this is based on the novel Blonde, which is a fictionalized biopic. It is not her life story. Yeah. It is someone that wrote a fictionalized version of what they believe to be her life story. It's based on the novel of the same title, Blonde.
It's got an insanely good cast.
It's got a great cast. So,
and knowing that Ana de Armas kind of has broken English, when you see her act and she speaks almost perfect English, that's one of those amazing things that I just will never understand.
Well, because she also has that the
I know, but I don't. What I'm saying is, I'm talking about in general, not just in Blonde, but that's one of those things that I just can't fathomably understand. Because to me, and I know this is white privilege, but to me, speaking American, speaking English, always speak English, I think, okay, I do an accent and then I come back to English. It baffles me, like, okay, well, if you're speaking perfectly good English, why do you revert back to accent? But it's the same thing. It's
you're just acting.
I know, but it's the same thing because, like, you're living in America, and I'm not saying you should speak English because you're an American.
But you would still have an accent.
I know, but it's.
Oh, but you have the ability to not have an accent, so why would you?
It's the exact same thing of me doing that in the opposite way, but then it's also the confusing because we're in America, so you expect them, well, why is it so hard to understand you in an interview because of your accent when you know you can do it from a movie? You know what I mean? It's just that I don't understand it as a performer of your brain, you know, because you hear people like Mel Gibson, for instance. When you normally hear him talk, he speaks perfect normal English, but he's Australian. Mm-hmm. If you listen to Mel Gibson, like Mad Max Mel Gibson, there was
my mother's calling me.
Well, you wait till we're almost done. There's more of a Australian accent back then, you know, and now it's gone. So anyway, moving on.
Okay, coming out on Thursday to Prime Video is a movie called Argentina 1985. It is based on the true stories of this legal team who tried to prosecute the Argentina military because of some of the things they did under dictatorship rule.
At the end of the movie, does it say farewell Argentina?
I don't know. For one day only at a Fathom event special, St. Michael, Meet the Angel. It's a documentary special about St. Michael. Okay, coming out Friday. I'm really excited and kind of scared at the same time. It's the new horror movie, Smile. It's the one where the psychiatrist is treating patients and suddenly they get this weird evil smile and it seems to be passing from person to person and killing them. Don't know anything
There's so many like horror stuff we've been missing. We got to get caught up.
Well, because Halloween is coming. Coming out in theaters, a movie called Bros. Hey, bro.
That's the one we're seeing on Tuesday.
So 2 men says with commitment problems attempting.
That's the one with Billy Eichner who's trying to date.
Oh, we're watching this?
Yeah, we're seeing that Tuesday.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you did.
Then coming out to Disney Plus. Well, we will be watching this Hocus Pocus Part 2.
Hold on, did you see that right there underneath Hocus Pocus?
This one? Oh my gosh.
It's a horror film that takes place in Spirit Halloween.
Oh my, it's a limited release. Okay, there's a Spirit Halloween, the movie about crazy
I saw
things
the trailer the other day.
in a Spirit Halloween store. Wow, good for them. These are all limited release. Yep. Okay. Oh no. Coming out to Prime Video, the Prime Video movie of the week, My Best Friend's Exorcism. Okay, so something goes wrong. Somebody may have become possessed. Will they be able to exorcise the demons in time? Okay, coming to Apple TV, the movie we've been waiting for I think a few weeks now that you told me about it. The greatest beer run ever, based on a true story of a man who tries to track down his army buddies in Vietnam to bring them some beer, if you can believe that. The Netflix movie this week is a movie called Rainbow. It's a modern tale of a teenager's coming of age. It says it's loosely inspired by the novel The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, which seems very interesting. Also coming out to Netflix is a new series called Intergalactic. It's got that Kid Cudi guy in it, and it's an animated series.
Oh, yeah. I know what that is.
No idea. That's all.
All right. So doing giveaways real quick. We had I think a couple added. I don't know if they were here last week or not. But we've got. Are you ready?
Hold on.
Sorry. We've got 4K copies of Poltergeist to give away, as well as Preman Silent Fury that we discussed today. Got a couple copies of Star Trek: The Motion Picture Director's Cut 4K still available, as well as Elvis. Yeah. And lastly, we got The Lost Boys on 4K to give away, and the movie They Crawl Beneath that we'll be talking in an upcoming episode.
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. We will see you next week. Make sure you check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. Go find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And we'll see you next Sunday.
Bye.
Bye.